Hi everybody. So today is part 2 of Thanksgiving pies and we're gonna make a coconut cream pie. And I know that that might not seem like a typical Thanksgiving pie, but around my house when I was a kid, it was. So my grandma was an amazing baker and the best thing that she made was a coconut cream pie. And so I always begged her to make it for every holiday that we had. So when I think of Thanksgiving, there's gonna be a coconut cream pie on that table. So I'm gonna show you how to make it. And we're gonna cut a little bit of corners and we're going to use a frozen pie crust, or you could use a refrigerated pie crust, but this is a deep dish one, Marie Callender's, and I just love the ease of having used that. So you need to do a blind bake on it, which means set your oven to 400 degrees, and then you are going to take your frozen pie crust and defrost it for about 10 minutes from the freezer. And then it comes, mine came with a piece of parchment, or you could just cut one to size. And then I filled it with pie marbles, but you could use beans or rice that are not cooked and put in there. And then you'll put it in the oven for 10 minutes. Then remove the parchment and the weight, and then you are going to continue to bake it for 5 more minutes. Then let it cool on your counter as we make the filling. So we're gonna take 4 large egg yolks, room temperature, and combine that with a 1/4 cup of cornstarch, which will thicken it up. And we're gonna leave this to the side. So we'll have to temper this with our filling once we get it going in just a moment. So it'll be very pasty. Okay, now to our medium-sized pot, we are gonna add a can of full-fat coconut milk. Don't skimp on the fat. Like I said before, fat equals flavor. So we're gonna love it in this, okay? And it makes it so coconutty to have this. My grandma did not use coconut milk, but after tasting it, I know that she would love it. Now a cup of half and half, and 2/3 cup of granulated sugar, and a pinch of salt. Now we're gonna put it on medium on our stove, and we are going to bring it to a boil. Once it is boiled for 2 minutes, we are going to temper our eggs and add them in, and I'll show you what to do once we get to that point. So now that my coconut milk mixture has boiled for 2 minutes, I am going to take a 1/4 cup of that mixture, and I'm going to just slowly drizzle it and whisk at the same time into that egg yolk cornstarch mixture. And this is called tempering your eggs, right? And what we're doing is bringing these egg yolks up to temperature so that when I put it in the coconut milk mixture, it won't scramble my eggs. Okay, so now that we've gotten a 1/4 cup of that, I'm just gonna do it one more time, so a 1/2 cup total. It's nice and smooth now. I'm just guaranteeing that I'm not gonna have any problems. So back onto the heat, I have lowered it to medium-low, and I'm going to slowly drizzle in that mixture. Again, trying really hard not to scramble those eggs, but I've got a trick that will guarantee that we won't have any scrambled eggs in our coconut milk mixture. Now, once we have this all whisked together, it's going to start thickening up very quickly. So I'm gonna stay right here for 1.5 minutes, and I am just going to whisk and whisk, and it's going to bubble and get really, really thick. It's already doing it. Lots of progress here. And I'm gonna time myself just to guarantee that I do it correctly. So now that my mixture has gotten really thick after 1.5 minutes of whisking, I have taken it off the heat, and I am going to put it through my sieve here just to guarantee that there were no scrambled eggs in that. Just make sure that your coconut cream pie filling is very smooth and luxurious. So we'll scrape all this out, and then I'll push it through, and then we're gonna add the rest of our ingredients, and our pie is almost done. Now I want to make a mile-high meringue. So my grandma, she did just the normal amount of meringue, but I really like the meringue. So now that I do it myself, I double the recipe, so I'll have lots and lots of it. So we're just gonna push this through, and then I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of room temperature unsalted butter that I have cubed. Also, a cup of unsweetened coconut flakes, and a tablespoon of vanilla bean paste. Vanilla bean paste comes in this little jar. It's usually sold in most grocery stores right beside the regular vanilla extract. Now, if you don't want to use the vanilla bean paste, that's fine. It'll still taste wonderful to use the vanilla extract, but the vanilla bean paste is vanilla extract plus the inside of a vanilla bean, and it gives this super strong vanilla flavor, which is so good in particular baked items. So we're gonna continue to push it through, and you'll see that there is just a little bit of residue that's scrambled just a little bit despite my whisking. So that's why we do this. When I make creme brulee, I do the same thing to make sure that it is super smooth. Now we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of butter. And it's still very warm, so that butter's gonna melt quickly, but we cubed it just to make it happen a little bit faster. And then a tablespoon of vanilla bean paste. And you can see the little flecks of vanilla bean in the coconut cream pie. And my butter is almost melted, so I want to keep mixing it until the butter has disappeared and it's nice and shiny. Now we're gonna add the 1 cup of unsweetened coconut flakes. It's already sweet enough, so you don't have to use the sweetened, but if that's what you had on hand, then you use that. I'm all about improvising when I cook and bake. Okay, now that that's mixed together, we're gonna put it into our baked pie shell. Okay. And because this is a deep dish, it can still hold what's to come, which is my meringue. But we don't need to make that yet because this needs to go in the refrigerator for at least 3 hours to get nice and set. And a coconut cream pie tastes so good when it is chilled. Okay, but I don't want to have the skin on it from this pudding being exposed to the air. So we're going to put plastic wrap on top of it and touch it to the pudding itself like this. So in the refrigerator it goes. I'll be back in 3 hours to show you how to make the meringue. Now that at least 3 hours, if not overnight, have passed with your coconut cream pie in the refrigerator, it is time to make your mile-high meringue. So we are just going to simply take 8 large egg whites at room temperature, and we are going to whip them until they're glossy and shiny. And then we're going to add half a teaspoon of cream of tartar. So let's begin. Once I've added the cream of tartar, then I will whip it until it starts to form a shape. And then I'll add a half a cup of sugar, but only a tablespoon at a time, so it will have time to dissolve into the egg white mixture. Once I've added the entire half a cup of sugar, I am going to beat it and beat it and beat it until it is stiff, high peaks. And then I'm ready to pile it on my pie. But you only want to do this when you're ready to eat it, because if you put it back in the refrigerator, it's going to bead up with liquid, and that's not as fun. So wait until the last moment to get this meringue ready, pile it on, and then you can either put it in the broiler for just 4 minutes, or you can take a butane torch, which is what I'm going to do, and you're going to torch it to give it lots of color, and it's going to be beautiful.